Hello and welcome to the War Report. I am your host Cyrus, joined by Dominic Griffin. Um, very much a reoccurring guest. I think this is your fourth spot on the.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Dom is going to be joining me as much as he can, and probably another array of guests until Quan's situation gets a little bit better. I'm not going to say how it's going for him. That is him to disclose to all of you guys. But we're back in that guest era of the War Report. I will not be doing it. If there's a time where I have to do the episode alone, that episode's not coming out. I know for the real ones that was around for that time. I know that would be like that feat of strength to do a podcast alone again, but if I have to do it alone, I'm skipping AEW entirely. That's the compromise. Actually, that's the compromise. I'll do the episode alone, but I'm cutting out Dynamite entirely. But we're here. We're chugging through. You can also listen to me on the A show earlier this week because Muse is also on vacation. Yeah, man, I can't wait to like that. What is it? Where we do that one last episode of the year, and then we come back in January, because we were talking about it before, like we started recording that like Dynamite is not like getting any better, and it kind of sucks. Like I would love to talk about Dynamite if like both shows are good. Or like if the show was good, like NXT and AEW good at the same time, I'm a happy camper. But it just keeps getting worse.
I think it's just the fact that there's just such a disparity between the two shows. And like even a bad episode of NXT or like a middling episode of NXT still has like a built-in level of entertainment where it's like, all right, hey, these rookies, didn't have a very strong match, but also they're very new at this. And also like they're trying stuff and it's always going to be kind of trial and error. When
Mm-hmm.
AEW is middling or bad, it's like, how did this happen? Who let this happen? What's going? It's like someone should conduct an investigation as to what led to this.
And and I'll also preface this with like NXT for the start of this year, I would say very middling until like Vengeance Day. And even like post Vengeance Day, it was still pretty like, a middle of the road. But NXT is like bad episodes probably like, or when they're in a bad stink, it'll probably last like at most 3 months. At most.
This current
Eight
Dynamite streak, though, it's
dog. What is it? We're like a year and a half of it now. Like as soon as Punk left, like it's been like awful. Like we are in July. This show started getting terrible like November, December. Like that's when it really like the MJF and Adam Cole thing. That was like
yeah.
that was like really, really bad. And then like that was over. That was, the big moment happened at World's End. Then, they're just like, oh, we can't really continue this because Adam Cole's still injured, blah, blah, this and that. Wardlow loses, we all move on. And somehow moving on was still the worst thing this shit could have done.
It's
It's not
sad.
getting
It's
any better,
genuinely
and
sad.
it is scary. Like it's not really getting any better, and it's very scary especially going into like one of their like biggest shows of the year.
Their biggest show
Uh,
of the year. It's literally, I mean, the first couple of years of AEW, they would always talk about how like, hey, we don't know which of our shows is our WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like any of these shows
mhm.
could turn out to be the show of the year. But then once they did Wembley, it's like, no, there's no argument. That's your biggest show of the year. If you have this many people, it's your biggest show of the year. And there's nothing in the last couple of months that's felt like we're built. We don't feel like we're on the road to all in. You know,
Mhm.
it just feels like more of the same.
That and then also we'll talk about it when we talk about AEW, but like AEW has so like they have a lot of shows to sell. They have Dynasty, they have All In, and then they have Dynamite 250. So like a lot of things are like lining up for next week They're not building towards All In. And I mean, fuck it. Like with MJF and Osprey happening next week to, kind of like boister viewers for 250, that that is very much a all in show. I mean, all
They're
in match.
they're literally. I mean, I know we'll get into it like proper, but it's like y'all are giving away MJF Osprey, not a match I'm excited to see, but I think we can admit that's a match that like their core fan base should be
Mm-hmm.
excited to see.
Yeah.
And then they're also giving away Okada Swerve, which again, like that should be like a pretty big match, I would think. It's like the world champion
Mm-hmm.
against like one of your biggest signee or whatever. And I understand it's the 250th episode of Dynamite, but it's in fucking Little Rock, Arkansas. And like comic book publishers do this shit where like if they need a cheap pop for sales, they'll take like a Batman number whatever 26 or something is like legacy numbering issue 350 because of all the different renumberings, and they'll
Mm-hmm.
randomly be like, this is issue 350, it's really special, and it's not special, it's just y'all decided it was because it's an odd number.
Yeah.
That's what is happening here. They're like, this is the 250th episode of Dynamite. It's like, that's a weird number, but okay. Like, Raw's never done like a celebratory Raw that's like, this is, 2,300. Like, that's a big number, but it's not like, an actual milestone. And it's in fucking Little Rock, Arkansas. I don't know how else to say this. Like, people may, Tony's been arguing with Eric Bischoff, whatever in public in the press, and like, you could make fun of the fact that Bischoff gave away Goldberg versus Hogan on free TV with 4 days notice on Nitro, but they
Mm-hmm.
popped a huge rating and they sold like fucking 40,000 tickets to it on a 4 days notice, Um,
Yeah, they're not recreating that here.
they're not going to do that. I think I checked WrestleTix before we got on. I think they've sold like a little under 2,000 tickets. They've announced these two matches. If that doesn't at least double in a week, that's not a good sign to me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah.
Now, one, I don't know how they're just going to spawn more wrestling fans in Little Rock, Arkansas, but I still think, this is something they could have thought out a lot better than they've done.
Yeah. And then just to think about like Tony Khan and like Bischoff, like you can like Tony Khan can hate on a lot of shit that he's done, but at the time, it worked. If you want to attack something that he did, probably like 99 or like the 2000s, 98, then you probably got something on your hands, but like it worked
I
regardless.
mean,
Like it's not gonna work for you guys.
I think him coming out when he was on Meltzer and Alvarez's show or whatever, and saying how like, well, we're drawing $1 million house in New York. When has Bischoff ever drawn $1 million house? And it's like, I don't know, man. Adjusted for inflation, a lot of times, like
Yeah, right.
a bunch of times. I don't know what else to tell you. That was like 30 fucking years ago, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it's not fun shit going on. Um, but what's going on in life before we get into the trenches and a bunch of new stuff?
Man, I mean, I'm kind of on hiatus from the show, like from my podcast, Your Faith Film
Mhm.
Critic, and the YouTube channel and stuff.
Yes.
And I haven't even really been, I mean, as like a hiatus film critic, I'm still doing reviews for stuff for some other publications. And this summer has just not felt like a real movie summer. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I've gone to a few screenings, I've covered some films, but none of it has felt like last year, and even though last year didn't have like the best movies, but you ran from like Super Mario movie to like Spider-Verse to like The Flash to like there was a lot of big stuff. It was like every few weeks there's a big release. And this
Hmm.
summer has just been like, I mean, I
Yeah,
got a
nothing.
Deadpool screening in a couple of weeks. That's like that's it. I think basically I don't even fucking want to go to that. So uh
Yeah. What is it?
it's a weird
You
time.
last week my friend was just like, "Oh, like I want to go to the movies. Like, what do we go see?" And I checked that the Adams app or whatever, and it's just like, "Oh man, I didn't know. I thought Maxine was like out already, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll go see that." Boy, there was a jack shit on there, bro. I know Justice said that he liked The Quiet Place, but I've never seen the original. Um, But I was just like, no, I don't think I really want to see that. And then there was just like, I think the only movie that I wanted to see possibly on there was like the original Twister, one of my favorite movies.
Oh
And I
yeah,
was just like,
fantastic movie. Great
yeah,
movie.
right. Loved it since I was a child. I thought the movie was so fucking interesting. Because we don't get tornadoes here. So
I had a real moment of like I don't know how to describe it, but I had to go to a screening for Despicable Me 4, and I've never seen any movies involving any minions ever. I've never not a one of them.
Mhm.
Uh and I kind of forgot I even had the screening until maybe 20 minutes beforehand, and it's like across the street from me, so I could just run over. And I'm literally like sandwiched between a bunch of like kids at this screening on my phone watching explainer videos just to make sure I understand like the minion lore before this movie. I'm just like, okay, and then what happened in the third one? Okay, I get it, and then I watched the
Watching the 2 hour history of Despicable Me videos before watching.
but before we went in, my friend Julian is another critic, and I was like, I've never seen these movies. He goes, you don't really need to know anything, like it's fine. And I was like, yeah, but like I
Yeah, it's a
just, like
children's movie.
me inside though, I'm like, I'm gonna feel like a jerk if I say something in the review and someone who's like a Minion super fan is like, excuse me, actually, like you're just a casual fan or something. So I watched all the, it was like 20 minutes worth of YouTube videos, and then the movie started, and I was like, oh, I didn't have to watch any of those. This is so self-explanatory. Like it's
Standalone
not,
film.
it is not complicated. This is not deep. Um, I watched the equivalent of like those threads on Twitter where it's like we're going to explain the entire Golden Lovers story, but the whole story is just like it's just no,
Subtle hints.
these guys are doing just flips and gay baiting. It's not complicated. You could pick it up right here and be fine. Not necessary.
Yeah, no, I I probably only seen like the first Minion movie, and I probably only seen half of it. I can't remember like the last like children's movie I've seen. Um,
I'll tell you what, man, as a critic, children's movies are hell because every children's movie is basically the same movie. You know what I mean? Like there's not some of the Pixar stuff is different, obviously. Every now and again there'll be like a kids movie that maybe like a four in one that has more substance to it. But uh the last kids movie I reviewed before Despicable Me 4 was Kung Fu Panda 4, which was the same
oh
scenario
man.
for me. I had to go watch a bunch of videos because I didn't know the franchise that well. And you just discover like these are like they both mostly most modern kids movies actually just feel like episodes of a show. And
Just extended.
when we were kids, if there was a successful movie, they would make a show based on the movie, and they would just do that every week or whatever
Mhm.
for a little while.
Jimmy Neutron.
Now, yeah, like now they sort of what would be a good episode of a Despicable Me TV series where Steve Carell doesn't voice Gru, they get someone else to do it or something, like Diedrich Bader. Um, they just take what would be a good episode for that imaginary show and then just make it longer and put that out. Like it's
Hmm.
releasing EPs as double LPs, basically, is what's happening. And you just in there like, what do I even fucking say about this? Like, it's cute, I guess. Uh, I think it killed me the most because like there's like Pharrell does like the theme for it,
Hmm.
and I think I had like just had I don't know like my like eighth conversation with someone about how tired I was of the Kendrick Drake feud, and then I forgot that like the
He's
the
also
the
involved vaguely.
the fucking song for the Minion movie has like a Drake sub in it, and I was like, man, I can't fucking escape this shit. Like, I've
Man,
never
I've been
been
trying
so
really
over
fucking
something
hard.
culturally in my life. I've never just been so like, yo, I don't care. I don't care what happens. Like,
No matter how much I hit not interested, I am not interested in the sound this creator used on TikTok. Every TikTok has the beat to Not Like Us on it.
I
And I
can't
hate
take it.
that beat.
I think it killed me officially today, like really broke me with it, was like someone who shared a video on Twitter of Fantasia at like a party, and it was like a 90s theme party, and she was dressed like
Mhm.
TLC in the 90s, like all the I don't know how they dressed in those videos. They looked like they were on a like a kids show or something with puppets.
Yeah.
Um, and there's someone quote tweeted with like, you're looking at this clip with no audio, and you would think she might be singing like "Too Proud to Beg" or like some throwback from the '90s, and then you press play, and she's just covering "Not Like Us." Why is Fantasia covering "Not Like Us" at a '90s themed? What about this? Like, how did you? I hate the phrase like understood the assignment or whatever, but she did not understand. Like I don't think anyone the
Absolutely
prompt
not.
super wrong. Didn't get any of it right.
But back to I'm sick of it, but back to children's movies. I remember it was one of my birthdays during COVID. So like I wasn't going on any trip, I wasn't really doing anything of the sort. And me and my friends, we were gonna watch the whole trilogy of the Kung Fu Panda things.
Mhm.
First one, goated. I think that movie's really fucking good. Second movie is not as good as the first. It's I. Third movie, they don't kill my dog. This movie not hitting at all. So when I heard that the third one was coming out, I was just like, oh, this is probably gonna be just as bad. And then the reviews came out and it just keeps getting worse. And I think that's bad for children's films. And I feel like the only children's movie that I'm not even sure if it's a children's movie based on how many adults like it, it's Paddington.
Yeah, Paddington is not whatsoever aimed at children. Paddington
Okay.
is aimed at like 35-year-old like people that like Wes Anderson. Like that's like you can let a kid watch the Paddington movies and they'll like it. It's sweet, it's funny, it's safe, it's like family friendly. But the
Mhm.
appeal is not for children. The appeal is for like hipsters and like people that own a lot of coffee table books and shit. Um
Okay, okay.
the guy that did the Paddington movies did the Wonka movie. Like it's like the kind of the same vibe of like,
I need to watch
this
that
is
too.
family friendly, like kids can watch it, but like it's probably for like elder millennials who have kids, I guess. Um
Mhm.
like I feel like when I was younger and stuff, at some point they started making kids movies full of jokes and references for the parents, right? So the jokes and references would always be like 80s stuff or 70s stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and when the Ninja Turtles movie came out that Seth Rogen produced, all the references in that are for like people my age. Like it's all
Yeah.
the references now are for like people who grew up in like the 90s and shit. And I thought that was weird until I remembered that that's those people my age have kids now.
Yeah,
That's
and
what they're
they have
doing.
to
Like
share Ninja
so
Turtles with their
now, like,
kids.
yeah, so now when they make newer kids movies, they're making references to like people who used to watch Snick, people who used to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark or whatever. So it's very haunting and awful, is what I'm getting.
Okay. Oh, but I think but still Paddington is probably like the one thing where I was just like, I see a lot of adults like this. I might want to check it out. And
They're good. They're fun. They're very sweet.
that peak feeling is I think it was this year's Royal Rumble. And they had the Paddington edit for number 30. I thought that was hilarious, and that was like the peak interest that I had in watching that movie, but I haven't gotten around to it.
That's funny.
Um, just quick before we move on to another topic. Movies I've been watching a lot movies I've just been watching recently. I watched Starship Troopers. That movie's fucking hilarious.
Banger.
Uh,
Absolute banger movie.
Absolute banger. Dog, that's my recommendation to y'all. Watch Starship Troopers. It's on Netflix. The movie's extremely funny. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be funny, but like the movie's fucking hilarious. Um, Super 80s or whenever the fuck it came out. It's super retro. Like I thought that movie was really fucking funny. I watched Dune about 2 times, and I watched Dune 2 3 times in like the past week.
They're both really replayable for real. Like I saw
Yes.
Dune 2, I think 3 times in theaters, and like each time I was like, I could do this 3 or 4 more times probably. I'm good.
It just don't stop. It's that fucking good. I don't like the movie I used to like just cut on when I'm like, oh, I'm not really doing anything. I don't have like a podcast I can listen to or a YouTube. Like YouTube is not piquing my interest right now. I'm watching John Wick 2.
Yeah, the best John
And
Wick. Yeah, well,
and it,
maybe four
eh,
now, but two was like for me like was the best one.
it depends on the day. um I need 4 to be on streaming services. Like so I can like start watching that repeatedly and then really start determining if I like 2 or 4 a lot more.
The
But
week that like four hit like the internet, you could like pirate it and shit like in high quality.
mhm.
That week I just reran I reran the whole stairs sequence where he falls down the stairs. I watched that 4 or 5 times. Um, I just watched some of the shit with the blind swordsman. You know what I mean? I just watched the movie
Mhm.
like in pieces. I didn't replay the whole thing. I was just like, I kind of want to watch this part real quick.
Yeah, just
Let me
you
watch the
watch bits and
part,
pieces.
the overhead POV shit that looks like a video game. Let's play just the sequence, you know?
Oh yeah. For me, that is the catacomb scene in Paris.
Yeah, yeah.
I want that and the what is it? The shopping part where he's just like buying shit for the Paris mission.
That shit's so good. It's so
Yeah,
good.
it's just a good fucking scene. Like I probably watched that more than I've like watched the movie entirely, of course. But no, Dune has like taken like that like new obsession unhealthily. Um when I'm at work and I'm really fucking bored walking through the gallery, I will start doing the fucking sand walk.
Oh my God.
Like that obsessed, and I'm just so bored of fucking work. But yeah, no, Dune is some really good shit, and man, and we gotta. I like Star Wars, but damn, Dune really that shit. Star Wars ain't never took over my life like this.
Your life's probably better for that, to be honest.
Oh yeah, the way that is going now, very scary. Every time I see Star Wars content on TikTok is always just like, you guys are being racist, and I'm just like, yeah, bruh, y'all have that. I'm sandwalking, motherfucker. Um, this was a topic that seems to always come up in Discord when I say I want to talk about something that's not AEW. People really want me to talk about Final Fantasy.
I mean, that's
So
fair.
yeah, it's, it's something that brings joy to my life. But all I got for you guys is I've been playing a lot of Final Fantasy 14 Dawn Trail, which is the new expansion. I finished the expansion in probably like 3 days. Um, I'm a cutscene skipper and I'm cutscenes long. I don't give a shit. Um, the game is fun. I do not recommend it to anybody if you don't have time to waste. The game is really fucking long. I'm having a lot of fucking fun. Um, when I'm watching AEW or NXT, I am gathering logs and shit so I can make a whole bunch of fucking money. And if you're not familiar with Final Fantasy 14, it's the Final Fantasy MMO, and it's a lot of fucking fun. That's all I got for y'all. I'm not doing, there's nothing else Final Fantasy related um that I could talk about as a whole. I could probably not for the rest of these, like till the next one comes out. Like I'm not really doing shit. Um, but that's it. That's all I got for them. So we're gonna get into the trenches. Um, this was a story that kind of dominated the news cycle today. Um, and it kind of happened really like fast. Like this was like wrapped up in like within like 4 hours. Stephanie Valquez, is that how you say it? Or am I
Vacker?
Valker? Okay.
I
Autocorrect.
think it's Vacker. The thing is, I
Okay.
only ever hear anyone say her name when it's like Excalibur, so like
Mhm.
I can't trust that.
Yeah, autocorrect added the S and the Z. But yeah, there she was pulled from an ML was CMLL and New Japan joint show. She pulled out this morning, and then within 4 hours, Shawn Michael, like it was kind of like written that she was in that she signed to WWE NXT, and then Shawn Michaels said, "There ain't no more talk. I'm dead in that shit right now. She's with us."
Honestly, that was the funniest part of the entire. Like we were watching people in real time just crashing out,
Spiral.
melting down over it. And in my head, I was like, well, I mean, I guess we'll have to wait, until this is like confirmed.
Hmm.
And then, and like, I don't know, I think we saw like PW Torch, I think, or PW Insider, I think, confirmed it.
Yeah.
And I was, oh, I guess that's confirmed enough. And then
Yeah.
the Sean tweet, and I was like, man, I feel like, I don't know the particulars of Sean's social media or like who handles it for him or whatever, but I really feel like there's a part of him or there's a part of the team that handles it that really is enjoying his sort of quasi ironic space in the wrestling world as being everyone's favorite booker. It's not
Yeah.
entirely ironic, right? Because he is doing a good job and we love Sean, but there is a little bit of it that's a kind of a meme, kind of an internet thing. And he's just like, oh, well, if that's going to help more young people watch the show, then we'll do it. I'll fucking
Yeah.
wear the chef hat. I'll do all the corny shit. I don't care.
Yeah, the chef's hat and the hanging out with Sexy Red, like
Yeah, he's
that
like,
was,
whatever. All right. Like,
so I was just like, yeah, this will go viral. All right, sure, whatever. Like
like I'm
it
I'm
probably takes
positive.
nothing out of his day.
Yeah, I'm positive we could like with a well-placed like campaign on Twitter or something get him to like re-record Sexy Boy with like Metro Boomin. Like I don't think it would be hard. I think he would be like, "Yeah, sure. I got 20 minutes. Yeah, whatever."
This will go viral. Yeah, Sean, let's do it. It was
Yeah,
like, all right.
that's fine by me, whatever I mean,
He just calls Triple
it's
H.
fine.
Should I do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you should do it.
Yeah, Sean,
Oh,
it's
okay,
fine.
yeah.
Yeah. Kids love him. It's good. My kids love him. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's great, and then also just before, not trying to stray away too far, but JBL being extremely active on Twitter randomly has been a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I don't know what sparked it. I mean, like I think I saw he had a tweet with him outside of a gym. And it was just a bunch of like black people, and it was in DC, and it said like his local gym. And I was like, JBL lives around here. Like, I don't know what I would do if I ran into JBL in DC. I would just like I'm not even like necessarily like a super fan or something, but I just think he's so funny. Uh,
Yeah, dude's
like
hilarious.
if I saw him outside of a store doing that like skip thing he would do to the ring, I would lose it. They'd have to cart me away.
Yeah, uh, I wouldn't know how to react to like JBL because like oh, like his best like years of his career is him being just a fucking racist.
He's so good at
So,
it though, man. I mean, like
so
it's
I wouldn't know, I wouldn't be like, oh man, I love your work.
like, hey man, you really made me think that you hate people that look like me. Like, ah, well,
Yeah,
hell.
yeah. So it's just like I wouldn't really
Thanks,
know how to
bro.
react to seeing like JBL like in public. Like if it was like a con setting or whatever, it'd be like, hey man, I think you're really cool. I think you're hilarious, and like that'll be it. Or you should be on the pre-show more, man. We love that.
God, yeah, he
And
was
then that'll be
for a
it.
little while, man. Him and Booker T on them pre-shows was like guaranteed joy. Like
Yeah.
so he just had so much fun with it.
But yeah. Savvy is gonna be here in NXT, and Julia should be coming eventually. And then there was a name that popped up in the Discord that I wasn't really familiar with. Her name is Delta.
Oh, the
Um,
Aussie, right? Like
yeah,
from like the same indies that like Rhea used to work in, I guess.
yeah, probably like Melbourne City Wrestling or some shit. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with her. This is legitimately the first time I'm seeing her name today. Excuse me. So I will be following up on that. Just keeping my eye out for like clips and shit like that. Um, I think that'll be interesting.
I think it seems cool that like I know people love to spam the HBK floor page memes about they're just hiring baddies and college athletes and stuff, but like
It's not her fault. She bad, bruh.
but it's not but I mean like between Julia and Vacker and then like that Delta and stuff like it really appears and then I don't know I mean who knows I don't know what's going on with Megan Bain whether or not she's really in the market or not like they're kind of it feels like they're actually trying to assemble like a more diverse array of women. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
of different sizes, different shapes, different looks, different vibes, and like that's good. Like you want to have like a
Yeah.
diverse array of women. You don't want it to be like, AW where you just kind of alternate between like random interchangeable Joshis that they don't really focus on, and then
Hmm.
just like two white girls threatening to kiss, basically. Like there's no range in between
Yeah.
that really. So I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I like that they have there's just more variety and I mean like from the sense of that's how all wrestling should be to me like it's
Hmm.
no roster should have 30 fucking guys that look and do the same thing. You want to have like a mixture of types of people and I think it should be the same for the women.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on the Instagram right now, trying not to get distracted, but I'm trying to find like like clips of her. But nah, she has a really cool look. I like the face paint. I like the haircut. She has a great look. I think she's really fucking cool. So we'll see what she does. And when I heard that she's kind of following the same trail as like Rhea Ripley and stuff like that. Eventually, when she shows up, and eventually when she gets called up, and then what is it? Rhea takes her under her wing, the same as like Becky did for Lyra. Like automatic, like this is a star in the making if it goes that route.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is like it's not just that they're recruiting strongly and stuff like that and they're developing well. It's also like it feels like there's a real system and structure in place
Hmm.
for the women. Like you can see a path for any woman that gets signed. You can imagine a path of success for her, whatever that
Yeah.
path is. Maybe as a tag team, maybe as this, maybe she links up with this wrestler, maybe this wrestler sees something and kind of helps pull her up. On the other side of the town, it's not like that really. It's not there's not that same. I can't see a path of success for almost any of the
Well,
women they get.
well, the thing is that like you see the path, and the path always go like leads into obscurity.
Yeah, it's always. I mean, we joke about it all the time, but it's like you get your big debut pop, you get your big
Hmm.
world title match, you lose. Uh, then you get a mid card feud with whoever debuted last before you, who's still in
Hmm.
purgatory. You guys feud on Rampage. And then whenever that's done, well, it's time to go visit Athena and Billy Starks and your friends, your new housemates at on ROH Island.
Yeah,
So
it just fades into obscurity, or just like you're no longer like the focal point anymore. And that's like you can't have somebody on the top forever, but it's just weird on like it's a weird shift where you're getting all the attention and then suddenly you don't exist anymore. Like that's very
yeah,
jarring in a sense. Like,
it's well, it's I think it's AW has that problem where it's like it's hard to foster a believable mid card
mhm,
when you basically just have a bunch of like top people that don't lose and then a bunch of other people that lose to them. Like there's
yeah,
not really a hierarchy of like this person is this tier, this person's like 1A, this person's this. It's like everyone who's at the top is kind of all equal, and then everyone who's not is just the rest. Um,
yeah,
and I can't think of any other wrestling promotion that has had this specific problem before, because like, New Japan used to be so I always thought that the way Ghetto booked the promotion was so strong in the sense that like everyone had their place. You knew who was ranked above who, and
mhm,
someone who's ranked at like the third level could beat someone who's at the level of two, and then be able to have a match with someone at one, even if they're not going to win. Like there's like this sense of hierarchy and the sense of like beating someone mattering and getting you equity and stuff, and like AEW doesn't have that. It's like you're either the new toy or you exist, and you're going to be in a four-way, and Ishii's going to be there for some reason.
all roads lead to Ishii at some point, which I guess we'll be talking about him later on the show. But I'm looking forward to seeing Stephanie. I thought she had a good showing at Forbidden Door. Um, and to the people that are like mad that like WWE is hiring people that are showcased on AEW. Shit, that's the game. Like that's just
I
how it
mean, I
goes.
don't know. I have an idea. Maybe if your roster already has like 900 fucking people, those are the people you should be showcasing on the show, the people you already have locked down to contracts, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't devote so much screen time to people that you are trying to entice to sign with you.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. It's one thing for like just for Forbidden Door season or for specific special events, but just every fucking week, someone that doesn't work there is on TV and someone that does is just chilling somewhere. It doesn't make sense. And this to me
Yeah.
is the natural end result of that. Is like, yeah, you're gonna highlight people that don't work here, and then they continue to not work here, and you're confused. What did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah. Like hey man, NBA scouters are looking at those G League games too and shit, you feel me? Like
Yep.
shit, they're watching NBA games and being like, "Oh man, I think we're going to get that dude when he's a free agent." Like shit is the game is the game.
Just it's just the game, yeah.
Um sorry, just looking at some on Mercedes Monet had like she had time on TV, but on Instagram Live, she's issuing an open challenge.
Wait, that just after the show went off the air?
This just happened.
So, okay, so she was
We're
on
not making.
TV. She had a segment that did not move her program with Britt Baker forward in any way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
And then she had to go on IG to set up whatever she's doing next week.
Yes. Ain't this crazy how
Over
this?
under on her open challenge being against an actual coworker or a contractor. Like, is this gonna is
I'm putting my money, like I'm doing a called shot. Amy Sakura.
like
That that is my
if we
called
were
shot.
brother, if we were any closer to Halloween, I would just say Abaddon's coming through, but it's July, so you're right. I guess it's Emi Sakura.
Yeah, and then Rio's injured, so it's not going to be her. So,
Yeah.
I'm going Amy Sakura for this. So AEW misses out on Stephanie, but AEW will be gaining Ricochet.
Yay, I guess. Cool.
And I heard that it is a done deal, and it was kind of done effortlessly. Um, so have fun, Rico.
Hey man, I mean, look, if he's I don't know what he's getting paid, if he's getting good money,
Yeah,
and I
that.
can't imagine he'll have to work a lot. I mean, just based on what we see, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
I don't think he's gonna have to work very hard for whatever they're paying him. And he seems to like a lot of those people. He's gonna get, I mean, if he's into this sort of thing, he's gonna get tons of Twitter threads about, you know, how WWE fumbled him and now we get to see the real him, and that's probably good. He'll probably like a lot of those. And then, you know, we've seen this before, so it's fine.
Yeah. Um, excuse me. Whatever happens here, it happens. Um, yeah, man, I don't know. Like it seems like a clear trajectory. Like he's gonna be facing a lot of the high flying guys. Um, Unlike a lot of the other like free agents that come through, I do think that Ricochet is going to be used a lot more. Um, yeah, it is what it is.
I can't think of any matches I want to see with him. Like even though I'm not like a big AEW fan necessarily, sometimes they'll put up a match where I'm like, oh, I do want to see that. I want to see that. There's not a lot I can think of with him. I mean, like I have no interest in seeing him and Ospreay ever wrestle again. Uh, I don't. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I can't even think of one where I'm like, that would be good. That would be good. I'm like, I guess. I
Roosh.
suppose. Actually, I wouldn't mind that just because like I'm not a big Roosh fan either. But anytime he is on the show, I feel like the only thing he knows how to provide is like I'm just gonna stiff the fuck out of these people.
Yeah, I'm just gonna beat your
And
fucking ass.
I think Ricochet is the most compelling when he's getting his ass just mollywopped. So yeah,
Hmm.
maybe him and Roosh, that'd be great. Set that up. But anything else, I don't know. Like I don't know that I want to see him in like Orange Cassidy. I don't know that I want to see him in like Roddy again. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Hmm.
bro, every PWG show I like from 10 years ago, it exists. I can go back and rewatch it whenever I want. I don't have to see it again, but
Yeah, like
worse.
I have the best of what is it? The best of Los Angeles or Battle of Los Angeles DVDs like the year where like Ricochet wins it. So it's just like I think I'll be okay, man. Um that's happening. And this one seems to be another like layup for WWE. Uh Pentagon Jr. or Pedro Ezero Mero. Yeah, hold on. Let me just stop right here. I don't know how to speak Spanish, guys, so let me just rock, bro. But I know what them words mean. His contract is up in 2 months. So he and it's stated by Wrestling News Observer that he is very much open to leaving. Yeah, man. Come on through, bro.
I mean, I
um,
think I would be excited to see him come to the PC if for no other reason than that like he might be forced to give a shit and try. Um
mhm.
I remember even when AEW started, like Jericho was like publicly talking about how lazy he was and how they would have matches where he would even bother to tag in and out, and Jericho would be like, "That's not like
Yes.
you have to make this work." And he'd be like, "It's just lucha," and Jericho's like, "I've worked in Mexico. That's not how they. That's not. This isn't a lucha thing. You're being lazy."
Yeah,
And I feel like post Lucha Underground, that's every time I see him, I'm like, man, I think he's cool. I think he has presence, but his matches are always just like, all right, okay, like I can tell
yeah,
you don't give a shit, brother.
yeah. Hopefully, when he shows up at NXT or whatever, he kind of gets like his act together, gets in shape, and let him be a singles guy, so he doesn't have to tag in and out and shit. But if a random tag match occurs, like, please, brother, I want this to work for you. Like, I am a big fan of Pentagon,
I
so
would like someone to Photoshop him into the Chase University sweater. I would like that very much.
yeah, I need that.
He can be an exchange student, him and Duke hanging
Yeah.
out together, I guess.
Hey, every free agent needs to just take a pick in the Chase U sweater just once.
Just one
Just once.
time,
Just
just one
once.
time.
Do it one time, let WWE pull it in a vault, and then 2 years from now, it's the oh man, unseen images from NXT, and then it's just fucking Pentagon in a goddamn Chase U, no mask on. That's the type of shit I need from like every free agent that comes through. Um TV deal talk. It was also said by Meltzer earlier today, so I'm gonna skip forward on this report that AEW and the Warner Brothers deal is done. So maybe in a few weeks we will hear the terms of that deal.
Very curious
Uh
to see what they ended up with, man.
yeah, because they've been negotiating for quite some time, and with Dynamite, kind of declining, them not having Punk, um, kind of like everything is working out for AEW except like the TV portion. So I don't even think that Warner Brothers could be like, hey man, uh yeah, live shows are doing good. So yeah, man, we'll keep paying you. And it's just like, well, those live shows aren't really on our network. And
That's the component I'm the most fascinated by and curious about is whether or not there will be some kind of HBO Max or Max
mhm,
integration or not. Because like pay-per-view business is like such a significant part of their revenue
mhm,
that if they did move to doing it, if their pay-per-views became PLEs, through Max or something, they would need to be being compensated within the new media rights deal in a way that would offset losing the pay-per-view revenue.
yeah.
And I don't know that they would want to spend that money on that. I'm not sure about that. I don't know that that's valuable enough to WBD, but Zaslav works in mysterious ways. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna skip forward on the report and then we'll see what happens there. And then this is kind of old news. But Izzy Dame and No Quarter Catch Crew were at the Impact was at an Impact show. So give you WWE just giving some folks over. And I do think that TNA does have some workers. I just don't really care to like really watch the show. Um so I think this is really good for a lot of those NXT folks to go there. Between like that and like Noah, like I think this is really cool that these are places that they can go to currently. Oh, and then the occasional GCW appearance. They seem to really fuck with Bloodsport, but nothing else. Like,
I wonder how much of that is just like Shayna being close with Barnett and maybe like, being cool with them enough to be like, you know, hey, this is like low stakes. They're not going to necessarily get exposed really.
mhm.
It's a fun thing everybody can do. Like it's
I
mostly just Shayna so far.
yeah, I think it's very much the relationship between Shanna and Barnett because we're not seeing NXT folks or like WWE folks at like the clusterfuck or the well not the clusterfuck Joey Janela spring break and shit like that. So
Yeah, I think if we start to see that, that's going to be like a really big,
yeah.
I mean, but hey, I don't know that I need to see like the Gallus boys wrestling Effie or something, So like I'm okay with them not doing that. That's fine. Stick to Bloodsport. That's cool.
Yeah, stick to Bloodsport, but I think some cool matches that could possibly because there are some people on GCW that I would like to see wrestle like well I would just like to see them like kind of get signed by like what is it? NXT. Um Treehouse Lee, I believe that was his name. He was like a black dude. That dude's cool. Come get your match against Charlie Dempsey, boy. Um Jimmy Lloyd is somebody I'm at like I'm a big fan of Jimmy Lloyd. I think Jimmy Lloyd's really cool. Shit, he could have his Gallus match. I don't really give a shit. um yeah, no, and then Zack Ryder. He's still their champ, right? Or is he he's their commissioner now?
I don't know what he's doing now, but he's still around. I mean,
Okay. Hold on. Let me just do a quick Google of GCW. Yeah, I don't think he's their champion anymore. I think he's like their general manager now,
makes sense.
which is okay. Current champions. Oh, Slamovich is like their their champion. I would love to see her against I don't know somebody. Maki Ito. I'd be all right without seeing Main Swarner. I think I'm okay. Yeah, there's not a lot of people as much as I thought that it was really on this shit. But yeah, it's most likely just the Shayna and whatever thing. All right, AEW. All right, let's get through this.
All right.
So we got the Owen Hart tournament finals. I didn't know this was the finals. I feel like this came very like fast. Um,
The reason you felt that way is that when Tony books single elimination tournaments, he never announces a bracket and then does the first round and the second round and everything else. He just does matches at random that you find out are tournament matches. Then you see the bracket, and sometimes the entire one half of it will be done before you get to. So I think if I'm not mistaken, we knew Brian was in the finals before we knew that Hangman was even in the tournament. If I'm not mistaken, the way things like fell out. So
yeah, that's how
not
I
ideal.
feel. Um, because I feel wait like Hangman came back on like a collision, but I'm not sure if he had a match on there.
I think he came back. I think it was. I think it was like last week's Dynamite, and then Collision, and then this. So it was like I think it was pretty quick. It was like boom, 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 because all the other matches on the top half of the bracket, like those happened slower. Like one of them was at a pay per view, then one was on you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
very odd pacing, but here's your final. This is what match number 3 for them. I don't think you can even call it a rubber match because I don't think Brian ever has beat him before. I think they had a draw and then Page won, I think.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I'm sorry. We're forgetting a very important part of the story for this match, which is that Double J Jeff Jarrett, very close friend of the deceased Owen Hart of Owen Hart Cup fame, was the special enforcer for the match after getting his ass viciously whipped in the first round of the tournament and then being emotionally bothered by the fact that there was shenanigans in one of the other tournament matches.
Hmm.
So he decided to insert himself after tearfully begging Tony and Chris Daniels just standing there to be the finals. And
Which I was just like, okay.
I just no.
Weird
I can't
face
take
turn.
any. I can't take any more of these. I mean, here's the thing. I'm fine with it because it's Jeff Jarrett. Like I have a very big soft spot for Jeff Jarrett, and he can do both. And he I thought he did a believable job of like like hey, Owen would want a clean finish. Sure, I guess he did a good job of selling that. It's just that he was selling that to Tony Khan, who does not know how to react like a human being on camera. So
Hmm.
he's just like standing there, kind of bobbling his head, like okay, I hear you, I hear you.
Yeah, and then
And
like
Chris
no
Daniels
retort.
is just there, I guess. And like they're like, all right, cool, yeah. Um, it's like if you've ever worked retail and you have that one employee who gets really fired up and goes to talk to the managers, and the manager stands there till he's done, and
Yeah.
the other manager is like, yeah, no, we'll give you more, Sunday shifts. Thank you. That's what the whole thing was like for me. So
Okay. Um, I did not feel like, he felt that way, but I didn't feel like there was a lot of urgency because a lot of his like since he was like the special enforcer or whatever, how much can you enforce
From the
far as
ramp?
fuck for
From the
yeah,
ramp.
ring. Like, why are you still standing there? Why aren't you ringside?
What I didn't understand was initially when they announced it, I just thought he would be the ref. Like I thought
Yeah,
from
right.
the outset he would be the ref. Not, oh, there's a ref, but he's also there's the enforcer. I was like, that's kind of hat on a hat. Uh, but then, I mean, I don't know how you felt about it. Like I look, I Brian in AEW has not been a special experience for me, like it has been for
No,
some people. But he has always been one of my favorite wrestlers, and he's never gonna not be one of my
I
favorite wrestlers. You know,
I
like I've
I've had a lot of things in my life that I really loved. And then by the third movie or the third installment or whatever, it does not pan out. This is the third company that I have seen Brian Danielson in, and he's not that guy to me anymore.
I would not go as far as to say that he's not the guy to me anymore. Some of that obviously is
Like
just it's entrenched. Like I've been fucking with you since I was like a freshman in high school.
no, no,
You know
no,
what I'm
no.
saying? So,
I get that. Like I think he's an amazing
but
wrestler still. I'm just not invested in like that much, and that like hinders the matches for me. Like I think he's a phenomenal like guy, but like whenever he's having these matches, I'm just like, this is an insane amount of potential. Like not even potential, just like skill being wasted here.
there's a lot of stuff where he works people where I just don't care. Do you know what I mean? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I like seeing Brian, but I don't really want to see him against this guy. And what sucks for me here is I like Hangman, and I actually, aside from how like cartoonish his "I'm a heel now" voice is, I think Hanger coming back as a heel and coming back with a vengeance against Swerve like makes sense. I'm cool with it. I like it. I expected this match to be good, and when I knew I would have to watch the entirety of Dynamite for this, I thought, well, at least at the end of the show, there'll be a pretty good Hangman Brian match. That'll be nice. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
went into this with. I was like, that'll the show will at least end, I think, solid. It opened with this shit. Well, it didn't open with it. There's the fucking goddamn terrible ass Osprey fucking shit. But the first hour of the show was mostly this match, and it
Mm-hmm.
was very disappointing. Like it's not just I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was like bad per se, but it's like fuck. This is the one thing I was kind of, not even a lot, kind of looking forward to. And it's just this. Like it just did nothing for me. I felt so like
Yeah.
cold, you know?
AEW did that thing where it's just like the match is not epic or like the match is not good unless it goes really long and there's a lot of a lot of kickouts. That's like this match probably could have ended. This match probably didn't really need two picture in picture commercial breaks,
Mm-mm.
but there's just like bits and pieces of this match where I was just like, I know this match is not going to end because the Jeff Jarrett shenanigans has not started yet.
Right. Yeah.
So they're doing a lot of devastating stuff to each other, like the tombstone, the dead eye, uh, they're leaking blood, shit off the top rope, and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I know this is not going to end yet because Jeff Jarrett has not got involved. And I know that this match is not going to end clean because Hangman just came back, but they also want to tell the story with Danielson. So AEW does the thing again, where it's just like, we don't really want both these guys to lose. So we're going to try to salvage as much as we can from this.
You know, the thing is that's been bothering me about a lot of their booking lately, especially with this match, is like one of the key things that people talked the most about with WCW dying was that from like 99 onward, there were almost no clean finishes. Every match has some kind of chicanery because there's some political reasoning to have to protect someone or whatever. And the more you have stuff like that where we're trying to protect everybody, no one's getting anything out of it. You know what I mean? Like because Brian didn't like really win the finals of this tournament, I don't feel invested in his, trying to win the world title at the biggest show before he retires. When his entire tenure here, he's never really shown like he cares about the title at all until it's
Yeah.
convenient to get someone else over for roughly 3 weeks. Um,
Right.
and then Hangman. actually does have a genuine, compelling reason to want to face Swerve and to get the title back. He has
Yeah.
all of these good, like I said, some of the
Hangman's
execution,
reasons
yeah, some of the
trumps
execution
Bryan's.
of the heel stuff with him is not perfect, but it's like closer to what I think is good than not, right?
Yeah.
So if you're doing all this stuff and you're trying to build this up, he's back. His arch rival is the fucking champion. He's gonna like
Mhm.
he's just gonna run through people and hurt them mercilessly to get a shot at this guy he fucking hates. Then he's gonna lose. And what is he gonna do now?
He's
Like I
gonna
don't
try.
fuck
He's gonna try to get his look back at Blood and Guts, but I just like, to me, that's not a prize.
no. And it's like like it's funny to me because like there are a lot of things that are happening with AEW right now where the reasoning for feuds is not drastically far away from being good reasoning. It's just very poorly executed. Like
Mm-hmm.
this shit between the two of them, like one guy who's like this beloved hero who, we want to see him overcome and all that bullshit. That would be fine if Bryan was ever consistently a babyface on the show and was consistently a real underdog and not just recreationally being a bully heel and then sometimes faking CTE and then being sympathetic again. If he actually had like a consistent character, I would give a shit, right? And then if Hangman didn't show up as a surprise and then be in the finals a week later, I might be more invested in his journey for revenge. But now I have to pretend to care about Bryan and Swerve for what I can't even, I don't have that in me. I'm sorry. Uh, and then there's nothing of value for Page to do now. Being reluctantly teaming with the Elite to get his hands on Swerve or whatever, okay. I don't, sure, I mean, like, it's not like the closest comparison I guess you can have for this is like the Punk Drew stuff, right? Like these two fucking guys hate each other, and there's all this collateral damage around them, and they're creating so much drama and so much intrigue, and you just can't wait for the day for them to get their hands on each other. But
Mm-hmm.
like they're not going to get their hands on each other. Like it's not going to happen in like war games. like Punk and Drew are not going to be like kept apart and then they finally get together and
And
six
it's in a
other guys are
yeah,
involved.
and it's a multi-man match.
Like that's not going to happen. When it finally blows off, it's going to blow off in like a one-on-one match. And the fact that this is going to blow off as part of a multi-man match that is most likely going to involve the fucking Acclaimed. I just want to get that out there. Uh, the fact that this is going to happen in close proximity to Max Caster is not good. It's not strong storytelling to me. Like, what is the purpose of that? Either Hangman somehow is the one who pins Swerve and wins the match, and then feels like he's owed a title shot later. But then what? So then Swerve's going to beat Bryan at All In, and they'll have a match at what, Grand Slam? Like none of this to me is like.
Hey man,
I'm getting worked up. I'm like genuinely getting worked up trying to like logic through it, and I'm like, yo,
I hear
why
it.
is
I
this
hear
even?
it. Like it's like listening to a recording of myself. Like the more you try to make sense of this story, the more upset that you get because there's a better route to this. There's a better story to tell here.
I
But
was literally texting.
you're not gonna get there.
I was literally texting one of my best friends earlier, who's a big Hangman fan, and he was like, he's also been pretty disenfranchised with AEW as of late, and he was genuinely excited about Hangman being back, and then he had the heel stuff, that big backstage promo. He's like, I'm really digging this, and I was like, yeah, I mean, unless he loses, and he was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh no, I mean, I was like, I'm just saying, just theoretically, let's say, if Hangman loses, and he was like, oh, they wouldn't do that, would they? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, like,
And and
look at the lay of the land here. I don't know that he won't lose, unfortunately.
yeah. And then another thing is that you have this story of Bryan Danielson. He's in like the twilight of his career right now. But somehow you have a story better than the biggest, like the best wrestler in the fucking world is about to retire. You have a story better than that. I think that like crazy. I would hold off Hangman coming back for a really long time so it doesn't eclipse that. Bryan would be my sole focus right now. Not, and once again, this is the problem with AEW. They have too much shit to sell right now. You're trying to sell Bryan Danielson. You know, this is the last time. Like, this is not even like he's gonna retire. This is gonna be his last year as a full-time wrestler.
Yeah, it's not like
He's gone after this.
the Cena retirement tour is going to be a compelling thing because when it's done, it's done. Like Cena is saying, I'm never going to wear the jorts again. I'm never going to bump again. I am fucking done. This is the last chance to ever see me. Whereas what Brian is saying is, this is the last chance to see me until I live out my lifelong dream of being Yuji Nagata in his 60s. So, um, he's never going to go away unless like he gets genuinely crippled. Like Brian will continue to have random matches as long as he feasibly can until the day he dies.
Right.
So it's harder to build drama around him, quote unquote, retiring from full time action. Because, like, imagine if they tried to sell an Undertaker retirement match that was after this, he's only going to wrestle once a year. He did that for like 5 years. You couldn't have
Yeah.
created drama out of that, you know? So,
Uh, as you're like saying this, I'm realizing is that like they're trying to like redo what they did with Sting. Like, we need people to like come and see him as like, you know, this is the last time you might be like seeing
and
Bryan
but the
Danielson. Is it's
but
like
the thing
you'll
is,
be back.
they're not even learning from how they bungled the Sting thing. Like, yeah, the actual final Sting's final match that showed, you know, had a good house, et cetera, et cetera. But multiple people, even like pro AEW people, were publicly being like, "How come they aren't advertising this is the last time Sting is going to be in this city? Why are they not advertising this is the last time he's going to come to this market?" They just weren't doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And similarly, they're not like you saw how they announced the Cena shit. It was like this is his last WrestleMania. He's never going to
Yeah.
be in an elimination chamber ever again. That has like a sense of finality. Whereas this is just like, yeah, he's he's winding up and he's kind of done and like all of their stories you can best hear in like Meltzer's voice explaining it, and that's how you know it's bullshit because you can hear him being like, yeah, well, I mean, like it's like no, there needs to be finality. There needs to be something specific to this for it to have weight. If everything's wishy-washy, then nothing matters.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's the weird thing about the Owen Hart tournament. We're gonna talk about the women half of this part.
Ah, fuck, I forgot that even just happened. That just happened an hour ago,
Yeah.
and I've already forgotten about it.
Yeah. So you have Mariah May defeating Willow Nightingale here. Um, Same as the men's match, there is shenanigans that gets crossed at the finish. Here you have Stokely and Chris Statlander getting in Willow's way, stopping her from being the two-time winner. The commentary, they're trying hard to sell this story, and it's like, or like the story of these two, and it's not interesting. Like, oh, Willow could be a two-time winner of the Owen Hart, even though she really did shit when she won it the first time. Like, if she won it the first time and it led to some success, and she wanted to do it again so she could go back on the top, that would be a much better story. But she won that, wrestled Athena, and fucking lost.
Willow is like should be someone who is so easy to root for because she has
Mhm.
such a like natural, genuine sweetness to her that like usually makes for good baby faces.
Yeah.
Like on paper, she should be the way people used to feel about Sami Zayn and still somewhat do. But you know what I mean? Like that kind of person that's just, hey, that's the person's a good little cinnamon roll and we want to see them prosper. But she gets treated like such a fucking loser all the time that you can't invest in her, you know? And also, look, did anyone doubt that Mariah May was going over here? Did anyone have any sort of
Yeah. Like, when I saw
like
when I was typing up the docket, like 4 hours before the show, I was just like, I'm doing predictions on it, and I put in like Mariah May defeats Willow. Like, I don't see why Willow would win here.
let's why even yeah. And I mean, I want to say this. I don't think this is a good story, the Mariah May Tony stuff.
Oh no,
But
hey, let
but but
commentary tell you they acted like they're
but
fighting between two great stories here.
but I will say this, and this is very sad. I'm damning them with faint praise. It's the closest thing to a good story that they have on the show,
Yeah,
in the sense that like people seem to kind of care about it, even if they care about it for non-story reasons, let's say. It is largely consistent. You know what I mean? Like they've been kind of pushing it along for a while here. And it seems to actually get more of a reaction than anything Mercedes is doing. So like in
Yes.
terms of ongoing narratives in the show, I will give Tony and Mariah May sort of the
Yeah, people care.
I'll give you the E for effort on that one, right? But the one moment of this that people want is the turn, whoever is going to turn. And I don't think they I think the particulars of the segment that closed the show, if it closed like a show closer to All In, or if it happened at All In, or maybe right after All In or something, I think it could have been really powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was a little bit surprised at how like visceral it was, but that's it. You've blown the wad now. Like I don't like it's over. There's just come everywhere, clean it up. This is not it's over. There's not going to be a round two. It's
Yeah.
done. What's going to happen to All In? I don't care. What's going to happen in the next couple of Dynamites? I don't care. Like
Yeah,
they did they did the part and it's over. So it's like, okay,
like
cool.
for the next few weeks until All In, it's gonna be, oh, I can't believe you did that to me. Till then, like
Like
that, and
I
one of us gonna be like, I can't believe you did that to me, and the other one's gonna be gloating for 3 weeks.
I think the thing that's the funniest about this is that we actually don't have any evidence to suggest that either of the two of them are good for the role that they're playing now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
if Tony had turned on Mariah May, that would have made more sense. And I think Tony could carry it as the jealous older heel who doesn't want her to upstage her. And
Yeah.
then all Mariah May would have to do is be kind of like the adoring pupil who's been double crossed and who has to prove herself. That you could sell that. You don't need a whole lot to do with that. But I'm gonna have to believe and feel bad for Tony Storm. Good luck. Uh, and then I'm gonna have to like
They try to hate
give a
Mariah May.
I'm like, okay, I guess. You know what I mean? And like, is Shirakawa gonna be involved in any of this, or are they just gonna like, is she gonna go
That's
away again?
that's all this segment is missing. Like, sorry, I saw a tweet that said, because they were copying a movie angle and they fast forward a whole bunch of stuff. All About Eve.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I've seen All About Eve. It's a fucking amazing movie. I'm
Yeah.
willing to bet that no one involved with the story has seen All About Eve. I think that they just know the general premise of what happens and they're like, oh, we can do that. But
Hmm.
they're not getting it. Like, you know, Tony's really stealing shit from like Gloria Swanson and Sunset Boulevard, which is a totally different fucking movie. And then this, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It really bummed me out, honestly, because like I thought the final when she turned on her, I was okay. Then she like swatted Luther and he just like flipped in the air like a putty getting like
Hmm.
stabbed in Power Rangers. He just like and I was like, all right, this is corny. But then when she started like actually like beating her with the shoe and the blood and stuff, like for a show that
Overkill.
spams blood but for a show that spams blood all the time, if I didn't see blood earlier in the show, I would not have expected it here. And I think that would have actually been like, damn, like she's really fucking her up.
Mhm.
Um, but I also feel like that would have played better if Tony was the one that turned and was like beating her with the shoe and she was
Yeah.
bloody. I think they went the wrong way with it. I don't know that it really matters, but I just don't think Mariah May should be
She shouldn't
the
be the
heel
hated
in
one
this.
here. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like the whole time I thought this entire thing was in service of building up her to be like a really good baby face.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what we gained from Tony being a baby face and then Mariah being a heel. Mariah wins the title, I guess, and then what? So like none of it. Yeah, it's. I'm sorry. You try to like to piece it out or block it out, and you're
Yeah,
like,
you're doing that thing again.
it doesn't. Because it's like, look, if you watch enough wrestling or you care about stories at all, you know how stuff should go. So you're like,
I'm
okay, even if something is boring, you're like, okay, I get it. I don't get it. I
you
don't know why.
you do you're doing the thing where I'm, you're talking yourself through like what would be more logical or what would just be a better story, and it's such an easy layup. But then your brain starts just like, oh, you're getting like really fucking mad about it, or like you're
I'm
starting to
so
get worked up.
I'm so
Like,
sorry. It's like it's low key embarrassing because like I don't know how you do this show every week as part of it, and the other part of it is I'm thinking about like, Jim Cornette like does this shit every week, and it's like part of a bit, and people like
Yeah.
listening to him dunk on the show and stuff like that. But like, what's happening to my brain right now is like I've like watching wrestling since I was like 4. You know what I mean? I can't imagine what it does to Jim Cornette, who has like been in the wrestling business for longer than I've been alive.
Not even just like you've been watching wrestling for a really long time. It's just like we've seen so many stories be told. Just copy it.
I think that's what kills me. People make fun of Shawn Michaels for like blatantly just ripping off stuff he's done in his youth for the
And it's
kids,
the shit that made him a
But
legend.
it also it's like fine. And if anything, a lot of the time he's like improving upon it. Like Mello and Trick was just him and Diesel, but like better, like
Yeah.
good. Like if Diesel was actually over, you know what I mean? The shit with the shit with that four-way finish from
Yeah,
the
from
NXT pay-per-view.
Heatwave.
You know what I mean? Like that was like better even, I think, than the finish that he was cripping it from. Like there's nothing wrong with reusing angles. Like that's wrestling. There's only like 10 angles, I think. There's like 10 angles
Yeah.
and you just
There's
reuse them and you
there's only 10
tinker with them.
angles, and AEW has been using like the same 3 for 5 years now.
It's like, bro, I
It's
don't know
fun.
how many more
It's
friendship
really
breakups
frustrating.
I can take, man. I don't know how many more
Yeah.
people being friends and then not being friends I can handle.
And then honestly, let's say, no matter what, like you have to make Mariah May turn heel here, no matter what happens. There, you cannot write this story any other way besides her turning. If you had Mira Shirakawa in her ear being like, nah, fuck this bitch, take her title. Like, you're better than her. Like, really gassing her to fuck up that she can do this. And then she finally gives in and listens to Mina. You have your story right there. But you just turned them into a polycule literally the week prior. And then she's not here for this.
Like, there is no reason why Tony and Shirakawa didn't come with her to the ring. And then after she won, they didn't recreate the triple kiss with the trophy, and then they both turn on her right there. Like
Yeah.
that would have even made more sense, because then you could get a couple of weeks of like the two of them against her. It's easier to feel bad for Tony because she's outnumbered, et cetera.
Yeah.
I mean, there's ways you could go with it, and it's like, how is it that every goddamn time y'all take the most fucking shitty version every time? That's the one you pick every single time.
They never go the good route. It's fucking insane. But we're gonna move on here. We hear from Osprey, and MJF interferes, and basically MJF is just like, I'm better than you because I don't kill myself in the ring. I just talk. And when he says like, oh, I don't do stupid shit in the ring like the rest of y'all, the first thing my mind went to is when he was wrestling Jay White, where he was supposedly injured and then does the fucking cutter to the outside to the fucking mat. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the smart wrestling that you do.
This entire thing is really bad too, but it's bad in a simpler way, which is that Will is trying to like stick it to MJF. That's like, your whole bidding war thing failed because Tony wanted to invest in me because I can really elevate this company. And then MJF is like, who cares about spot monkeys like you? I care about Nielsen ratings. And it's like, they're both arguing for something that isn't really happening. Yes. Neither of them is moving the needle at all. I mean, there's like, okay, each of them has some, I don't want to pretend like they're complete non-factors. That's maybe a little bit offensive, but like, you guys can't both, like when Cody Rhodes got in the Rock and Roman's face and says like, who cares who's at the head of the table when neither one of you has been doing the cooking all year. That was real. Like Cody's like, I'm here every fucking week. You're here sometimes. You just showed up. That's real. When you're going to try to like shoot on someone or do a work shoot thing, it has to be rooted in some kind of like reality. Like the Drew Punk stuff works. The Seth Punk stuff works because they're preying upon real things about Punk's real life identity as a guy who doesn't get along with people at work and shit. That's why it plays. But MJF is, you can't just say he's the guy who cares about the ratings because the ratings are the fucking toilet. You can't
Yeah.
say I
And
don't care, I don't care about moves like you when he
and
had an Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson that was just moves and shit. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
can't
and
say
then
these things.
also MJF being like, "Oh man, like I really care about the ratings." Nobody on the show is gonna retort, "Well, explain these recent numbers, dickhead." Like nobody's gonna bury the
And
show.
also the other funny part with that is like Osprey through some proxy or whatever has already like leaked to Fightful that like he cares so much about the locker room and the team that he put Swerve over to,
Yeah, which I
for
was just like,
camaraderie. So we already know he doesn't have the juice to go on the mic and be like, well, what about this quarter hour? What about that? What about this week?
yeah.
Like that's the other problem too, is like you can't do the cutesy worked shoot, is this reals type stuff with
When we
two
know the truth.
guys. Well, when we know the truth, and it's two guys who are like kind of like pussies. Like I like, the Punk Drew stuff could be scripted within to the word, to the letter, or it could have a lot of little jabs that they're adding in themselves. And you're not
Hmm.
sure because that's the kind of guys they are. There's like that actual, they're real shooters. Like you can see that these guys are really like passionate saying that shit. Anytime Osprey has anything that's even kind of an offensive line, he looks so fucking self-satisfied with it. Like when he fucking had that shot against Triple H, it was like, oh,
Yeah, he
look
gets
at me,
real
I got it.
smug.
Yeah, and then like MJF, the same thing. He looks so goddamn satisfied with himself that like he called someone a mark on TV. Like, haha, yeah. And who cares? You can't care about any of that. You can't be invested in either guy. They're both arguing about who's the top guy, and they both apparently have conceded that to Swerve for some reason. So it's like, you want me to care about this over this belt? Like, really, this is what we're doing? I just don't. I don't
Yeah,
know.
right. Like neither of you guys are world champion, but you guys are like saying like I'm the best or like I'm the
Like,
best.
hey
And it's just like,
guys, hey, everyone, please respect Swerve. He's trying very hard. He is the best. He's not just here because of his cousin. Please respect him. But anyway, we're opening the show. We're opening the show next week too. We're fighting over who's important. But no, seriously, Swerve is he's the face of the company. He's not going to come out for an hour, but he's the guy. We're booting him out of the 1/4 hour on the show that always draws well, but he's the guy. Please trust me.
oh man, it's funny how AEW works. But and
Or
then
doesn't work.
after Brian, yeah, after Brian Danielson wins his match, Swerve comes out. We go to commercial break, so we don't even see if he had a face off with Danielson or anything.
Not at all.
Um, and then he just starts cutting his promo that I felt was very like all over the place. Um, he he's talking about Danielson winning, then he starts talking about the elite. Then he goes into blood and guts. Then he starts talking about dynasty, and then he goes back to the all in match against Brian. And I'm just like, let's stay focused. Let's stay like say, hey, like honestly, if they would have just cut out the whatever dynasty part was that of that fucking promo, like he was like the dynasty era or some shit. Motherfucker, y'all not having any era. Let NXT have that. You feel me? Um, there's no real central theme to this whole thing, and it just makes AEW seem very chaotic right now. And I don't think Swerve has a match for the 250, what is it, the 250th episode.
Incorrect. He is facing Okada.
Oh yeah, we just spoke about that. Oh my god.
They just
Uh,
added that as a lower third near the end of the show.
yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
they just cut to that happening. Basically, it was just like, oh, and he's doing this.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Um,
nothing. Just sure. Okay.
so yeah, that's gonna be a thing that happens. Very weird, very silly, but that's it for the talking parts of the show. We're gonna go into these quick hits real quick. We have the Global Glory Fatal Four Way.
Oh god.
It is Ishii, Pac, Claudio,
Fletcher, was Fletcher in it?
Fletcher. Yeah,
Yeah. Tall Osprey.
yeah, with the bad haircut. Pac wins. And then Bog is just like, he's gonna be wrestling for the Intercontinental um belt at all. I guess at All In, which I think it's really weird that you're gonna go from Osprey MJF and then you're gonna go Osprey Pac. I get it, they're both hometown boys, but like, what the fuck? Also, Pac keeps going. Oh man, I miss the last All In or whatever, and I was just like, you didn't have it
Why?
like,
What?
yeah, like
Why did you miss it? What happened?
you have like, as far as I remember, he didn't get injured. He just had a visa issue. But I'm just like, don't you live there?
Yeah, I was
Take
very
the
confused.
take the tube to the damn station. What? Like, I feel like they could have just gave you a pre-show match. Who gives a shit? Um, I don't remember what else was on that fucking card, but I'm pretty sure they had like some multi-man match that he could have been a part of. Um, but yeah, so he's gonna be doing this thing. Uh, the Stampede Street Fight. Jericho kills Samoa Joe. Um,
Why did that even
okay.
happen on this episode? Like for an episode that seemed to be hurting for time for different things, why was this on TV? This seems like a Rampage thing or like a Collision thing.
Yeah, for sure. I guess, Jericho's Canadian, so that's why they did it.
Yeah, I
Um,
guess it's true.
yeah, this happens, man. Obvious, like Shibata's not there and Hook got taken out last week. So obviously Samoa Joe was outnumbered here. So I don't know how he thought he was gonna win. Um, Jericho drives a forklift into Samoa Joe and they go through some drywall. I'm not gonna lie. The hi guys, it's a killing Samoa Joe really got me. It got me.
I
I
just
thought it
need
was
this
funny
to be
shit.
over. Like I just can't.
Oh yeah, no. It needs to be over. Like I don't like AEW is failing Hook on every front. Like it is not working out for this guy. You do the thing where you put him in the Jericho Vortex, that's already killer. Then you have him join a new faction or have a new stable or like a little group that he's a part of, but you're still in the Jericho Vortex. Like you're fucking cooked, son. Taz, pull some strings, man. I know you got Michael Cole number. Disc is not gonna work for the kid. I don't
Painful.
see Hook going any further than he already is here. I I hope Hook is one of those CW signings. Like this shit's crazy. Um, we already talked about the Mercedes Monet segment just a little bit. She's gonna be having an open challenge next week, announced on Instagram Live. But she has her third celebration segment since being signed, or since actually being on these shows. Um, she just comes out, does some like heel-ish, like not like, oh, it's kind of like babyface, like just like eh shit
She
that
did the
goes
thing where
on.
she did the thing where she stole Bret Hart's tagline in Calgary, and she got
Yeah.
some heat for that. But before that, they were just kind of moderately disinterested in her. That's like they didn't really seem to care. They weren't
Yeah.
cheering, but they weren't really booing either.
They're just like blah blah
Okay.
blah for your CEO, and then nobody really people are not doing the CEO chant anymore. Um I don't really think that the people are connecting with her. She just needs to start wrestling. She needs to start like just wrestle, please. Shut up and dribble. These segments where you're like talking a lot and shit is not working. It's
It's it's particularly weird to me because the TBS title is sort of supposed to be like a stand like a television title,
yeah, it's
and
a super mid card belt.
usually that's those are designed to be defended on TV, not pay-per-views. So like in theory, she should just be defending this on TV all the time. She should be doing like the Cope Open, but for her, I mean, which apparently she's doing next week. But I mean, like that should be her whole thing, not talking.
Yeah, but they're having her do that a lot, and it's never talking has never been her strong suit. So let's stop doing that. Like, please, Jesus fucking Christ. She says that this she talked to the Bucks and all that. So this segment is not gonna get interrupted at all. And it wasn't like Britt Baker was banned from the building or anything. They played her music, and then she comes out like as normal. She beats up one security guard, and then the rest of the security is just like, oh no, I don't want no smoke with her. And then she like Mercedes kind of like runs out of the building, like Britt doesn't even like chase her or anything. And that was like it was like 5 minutes. So I thought this was like really fucking weird.
It's the same show too, where Excalibur explained that Taz was not there because Jericho lobbied the EVPs to ban him from the building. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you guys are going to do the same bit for Britt, why didn't you have her like sneak into the show or come out of the crowd? Why did you have her just walk by several security guards who are all 4 times her size? They didn't even try to
Yeah.
restrain her. What was that?
Yeah. They let
And
her
not
they just let her
and
walk
not
past.
and not even her being like, see, even the security guards like me better than you, or something like that. Like just literally like she just came into the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Peppermint got to
Like
go to jail, man. Got to go straight to fucking prison. Her and her Emmy.
um so that's that. And then I said on Twitter that we'll be talking about Forbidden Door, but I don't really remember much of this show. So just general overall thoughts about it.
Uh,
Watched.
I mean, to me, the best thing, my favorite thing at Forbidden Door, the show, was the Vacker Mercedes match. Mostly because I was really impressed with Vacker,
Mhm.
and she's not gonna go there anymore. So yeah, that's my takeaway from Forbidden Door. I
Okay.
watched, I don't know, whatever it was, like 7 hours of, I don't know, it was like 14 matches. And the one person that came away from it wanting to see more, I will have to go elsewhere to see now. So they did a great job. Forbidden Door 3,
Fire.
rousing success.
Um, Forbidden Door, year after year, some of AEW's worst stuff. And at the end of the year, when everybody's doing their year end list, everybody's just like, oh man, don't forget Forbidden Door. Like it was really good. And it's probably one of AEW's weakest pay-per-view year to year. Um, I thought, yeah, I didn't think it's Osprey's job to really put Swerve over. What would really been the smart thing for him to do is not be paired with Swerve at all until you're ready
Yeah.
to get that title. Um, there was a lot of people like Alvarez and what is it? The Observer Radio, whatever. They were just like not strapping up Osprey this year is going to be a big fucking mistake. And they didn't do it. And then to try to clean up their mess, they were just like, it was like Osprey's decision not to do it. I think that's a lame cop out, and I still feel like it's a big fumble by not putting this title on Osprey. And
I
especially,
thought the match itself was fine, but it's like, hey, if you actually have the balls or whatever to like put this guy over and say he's the real face of the company, why the fuck finish? Why the weird shit?
yeah,
Like why protect him that much? Just don't, if you have to do a finish like that, just don't have the match. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with not having the match.
yeah. Like you really don't want either guy to lose, so why do this? Um, Valkyr was cool. I don't remember much of the ladder match, just going by really fast.
It was
Um,
fun. It was like typical like plunder shit. It was fine. It wasn't like
yeah.
terrible, but it wasn't great.
I like Mina Shirokawa. She's cool, but then the match was it is what it is. Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. I used to be a really big fan of Zack Sabre Jr. The stretching and the unique joint manipulation and shit like that doesn't really move me anymore. Like I think it's time for him to like really develop a character. Um, that isn't I really care about politics because that's not really something that can help him in the ring or like in the wrestling stuff, especially since it's like British politics and shit.
Well, and I mean, it's essentially it works fine if you're New Japan, where your only promos or post match stuff, where Japanese people just hear you yammering in English and are like, "Oh, well, fuck that guy." Like what he's doing, what he's doing for where he is perfect. It's just when he goes anywhere else, that you're like, "Oh, that's it. That's the only thing you have." Like, yeah, well, I
Yeah.
do this thing where I roll people up because I'm really lanky. Like, okay, but that's just those two things. Okay, you need a third thing.
Yeah. John Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito.
It was rough. I think maybe the worst match either of the two of them has ever had. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Mox has probably had worse matches, but definitely my least favorite Naito match ever.
Yeah. I used to be a very big Naito fan. Um,
Same. You know what?
Now I'm scared to say that. I don't want to say that
Time
anymore.
comes for all, and it's just time is up, and that happens, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Just stop being on TV. Just go to the beach or something. I don't know. Just hang it
Yeah.
up.
Just go do something else. Um, MJF versus Hensero.
I just,
Um,
I thought that match was fine. I stand by the fact that that was one of my more favorite matches on the show. It just shouldn't have been on the show. Like, that should have been on that should have been on Collision or something. Like, why the fuck is this on a show that already has 14 matches? Like, for what?
yeah. Danielson versus Shingo.
It was
Um,
fine.
See, just going like fine when it's like Brian Danielson and Shingo, like, you know,
Two of the best
like
alive. Yeah, it's
yeah,
just
like they say on paper, this should be blowing us away, and it fucking didn't. Um, New Japan guys are just like, I don't know, man. It's sad because I used to think like a lot of these guys were like top tier dudes, and now whenever I see them, I'm just like, oh, you're just doing like this shit is mid.
I think a lot of it though is like, well, one, I don't think any of those guys come over here and try that hard. Like, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, Naito for sure. I've never seen that man work in America and like care.
Oh
Uh,
no, he does not
even
give a shit.
even when his knees were in better shape, he would show up to those ROH War of the Worlds just looking like he wanted to go get a hot dog. Like, he did not care.
He just
Uh,
wanted to go to Five Guys with the guys. That's
yeah,
all they
like
ever, or Denny's.
yeah, Shingo's really talented, and I think he can still go. It's just like, why are you guys having a match that's like the first round of a tournament and Shingo doesn't go here? None of it made sense to me. You know what I mean? But like,
Hmm.
that's just what they do. Um, but you know what? I didn't like Brian and Okada when they did it at Forbidden Door, and then I
Hmm.
loved when they did it in the Dome. So like, I don't know, maybe Brian and Shingo, if they had a match in Japan, I would have been more into it. But here, I was like, all right, I guess
Yeah.
we're just doing
Um,
this.
so fucking weird. And then for the trios matches, I'm gonna blitz through these. We got the Learning Tree, Chris Jericho, Big Bill, that's his name, and then Brian Keith. Oh no, it was Miro Suzuki because Brian Keith got hurt. Um, versus Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I hate both these teams. They need to get the fuck away from each other. And then it's the Elite versus Scissor Ace, the Acclaim, and Hishiro Tanahashi, another person that time has caught up to. Um, but it was a tag match, so I know he doesn't really give a shit. He's the president now. Like, does he
It
really
was
need to
just
work hard?
I think no, I think it's a little bit sadder than that. I don't know that he can, man. Like, this is the most
Ah,
washed. This is the most washed he has ever looked. And I felt the way like Shawn Michaels felt about Ric Flair near the end, was just like, nah, man, someone needs to super kick you to sleep. This is it's
this is
I'm sorry, I love you. Stop.
yeah, it's over. And then just hit him with a super kick. All right, I'm,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit. I'm gonna hit his ass with a high fly flow. Like it's just, I got it, bro. I got it from here. Yee. Um. Okay, that is it for AEW. We're gonna go into Heatwave, and then for this episode of NXT, it's quick hits, and then we're just gonna bing bam boom and get out of here. Pre-show, we get Carmen Petrovich, Ariana Grace defeating JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. Um, I thought this match was perfectly okay. It was a pre-show, nothing
It was fine.
crazy.
Yeah.
Um, I think that Ariana Grace she's a lot bigger than a lot of these like women. Like if she wanted to just like turn around and be like a powerhouse or like just like a Hoss type, I think she could do it. Like during the like starting sequence of this match where they're running the ropes and then they're like doing the shit where they bump into each other. She's like way bigger than JC Jane.
Yeah,
Like,
it's like noticeable.
yeah. So I feel like she really wanted like she gonna do that shit like against like a Last Legend because Lash is like really fucking tall. She gonna do that against like her, but like I guess like against like a Tatum Paxley or some shit, or the
Mhm.
people just small like JC, like she could really like throw her weight around and shit like that. Um Carmen Petrovic is cool. She cool with me. Jasmine Nix, I don't really know how I feel about her yet. But they're putting her on the show a lot. So I think that, NXT thinks that like she's good to go, and then, it's kind of just like all up from here. So I think she's going well. It was
I think so
completely
too. She's
normal.
got a good presence. I think a lot of the some of the girls on the show now, it's just like you can put a match together, you have presence, people like looking at you and they like watching you. You just have to kind of like get the character part down or become like a
Yeah.
more compelling person. That's like
Like,
the harder part to develop, I think.
yeah, like if you go out there, get cheered, okay, the foundation is set. Let's like start building upon that foundation with like character and then all this like other shit. I I think it was like 2 weeks ago. Before no, it was probably 3 weeks ago now. Like when they had where they had like the triple tag match or whatever, where Roxanne like did the back fist to Lola. And that was a
Yeah,
thing.
that. Yeah. Mhm.
The week prior to that, you had Jasmine Nix cutting a promo for JC Jane, and then you had Jakaro cutting a promo for Last Legend. I thought that was really weird. But I don't remember what I was gonna say about this. I like, is she a good promo? I don't remember. I think I was gonna like compliment her promo skills, but I don't actually remember how I felt about that promo since it was so long ago.
I think that's the thing. They
But
got a lot of women they're trying to get over, and it's like they're not all going to have a ton of time to talk. So like, if some of them have a little shot to show a little something, and they don't really razzle dazzle, you might not remember it at all. It doesn't mean it was bad. It just might not be memorable.
yeah, I wouldn't say that the women's division is like bloated, but they do have a lot of moving pieces right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And they still have like pieces from like the past era that needs to like that also still needs work.
Hmm.
Um, so that's that. Oh, one more thing about this that I just wanted to add. On the Go Home show, they solidified that like JC what is it? Fallon Henley is going to be joining JC Jane and Jasmine Nix here. So if we did the prediction show last week, I would have like had them winning here because I thought Fallon Henley was going to get involved, but they straight up just didn't. And then she gets involved this week, and I was just like, why did you leave him hanging for the pay-per-view?
Yeah, that was kind of random.
That was so fucking weird to me. Um, Next match, for the North American Championship, we got friend of the show, um, Obafemi defeating Wesley. Obafemi beat the shit out of this guy.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
It was really good. I would, I would love to see this title reign continue to keep going. I just think that the only thing right now is that Obafemi either needs to like really slow down or he needs to really work on his cardio. He gets like tired really fucking quick.
Yeah.
Um, like after he like sent Wesley to the sky, 2 minutes after that, like I see his chest moving like a lot. Like he's sucking a lot of wind. Um, I don't know if he either needs to like really slow down or just like really start working on cardio, but that's really kind of all the complaints that I have about that match. Like just very middle complaint about the match at the moment. How I feel about Wesley is documented on the A show, and how I felt about Wesley going into this no longer matters because I know where he goes now. But we'll talk about that later. Kalani Jordan versus Sol Ruka. This is also something that I talked about on the A show, but I wanted to get your thoughts on this match and the weird uproar about this.
I thought the match was like nice. I thought it was like, oh hey, like these two have some like very natural athletic ability. I felt the pacing of the match was a little bit kind of do-si-do or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I thought it was like good. I thought it was fun. And you know, you kind of have to, I mean, me personally, I try to judge matches based on like we said, the Brian Shingo match had like a lot of, you know, expectation based on, oh my God, these two guys are like legends. Uh, and then it kind of didn't necessarily meet those expectations, which is whereas this is like two very young, relatively inexperienced wrestlers, and they put together something that was pretty entertaining, and the live crowd was really into it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like they overachieved. I think the problem is that they overachieved and then people really ran with it online. Like, this is amazing. Oh my fucking God. And then people start picking apart at it, going in with the expectation that this was some 5-star classic, and then
Yeah.
being like, this is what you guys like. This is what you call classic. And it's like, oh, relax. It's not that serious. This was just, it was a fun little match. There were some nice moments. They both looked good. I think Kalani needs some kind of fucking character. Like, she just is sort of there. I think
Mm-hmm.
Sol Ruka feels like she has more presence. The match she had on Tuesday, last night, like on the regular show, I thought was like not better than this, but I felt like it kind of showed that she is better than Kalani, like that she has a little bit more versatility. She has kind of like a natural physical charisma, I think. And I don't know, I thought it was fun. I thought it was like a nice match, but it wasn't like, I think my feeling about this match is my feeling about Heatwave as a whole was it was a very entertaining show. It felt largely kind of like a throwback takeover. Um, and it was nice. It was good. It was relatively short. It didn't take a lot of time. And then the entire 2 or 3 hours after the show was everyone online being like, "This was better than Money in the Bank. This is the best WWE show of the year." And it was just like, "Oh my fuck, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Just relax. Like,
When
fucking
I
breathe."
was when I was saying like this was the best show of the year, I was just like, what? Like, I like the show, but I was just like, greatest show of the year. Like, really? Like,
A lot of people on social media when it comes to talking about wrestling, a lot of people get very guilty of being prisoners of the moment. And
mm-hmm.
like, if in the moment something feels great, just sleep on it
Like
and
it's
then see how
it,
you feel tomorrow. All you gotta
yeah,
do is wait a goddamn day, but people don't want to do that. It's just like, no, this is the best ever, and oh my God, and Shawn Michaels is embarrassing Triple H. Why can't Triple H do this? It's like, guys, it was just breathe, man. It was a nice little show. It's not.
yeah. Um, I will say that the NXT crowd or the people that like really watch the show, like y'all did the AEW thing where every show that they have is like this is the best like show ever. Like the
Yeah,
the
same
uh
shit.
the
Yeah, it's like,
the,
hey,
the
hey,
hyper
relax.
what is it? It's not hyper of the over exaggeration of the show. Like I thought the show was like really good, but you guys are wilding. Um, how do you feel about Alvarez being like this is not wrestling, this is gymnastics?
I thought it was very funny, and then like I thought that Meltzer's defense of what Alvarez was saying was like, well, it was different. Like his explanations for why it was different make sense to him. I'm not going to argue with it,
Mm.
but uh, it is funny to me that people got so incensed by the idea of these women doing that type of match. And it's like, to me, I looked at the match not that differently than people look at like Kenny Omega and the little girl, where it's like, hey, that's pretty impressive for someone who doesn't have a whole lot of reps at this, you know?
hmm
Um, the brain worms it requires to then go, let's compare it to this match with two seasoned veterans, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, okay, well, something's wrong with you. It's not what we're doing here. That's not necessary. Like, what are you even trying to? I don't know, man. Like, I guess it's just weird to me that anyone watched that match and came away thinking anything other than, hey, that was cool. Hey, that was nice. You
Right?
know, like that was a nice little match. Not just like, no, this is the worst ever. This is the best ever. Like, I don't have feelings that extreme about anything in wrestling anymore, or anything really. Like, things are not all
Yeah.
the greatest ever, the worst ever. Some stuff is cool. Some stuff's all right. Some stuff's not so good. But like very few things are either end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Um, Next, a match that I was very impressed by because I didn't I don't know how you feel about tag team wrestling, but tag team wrestling is not like my favorite thing. Um but Frazier Axiom versus Chase U was really fucking good.
It was really good. Yeah, I like tag team wrestling a lot when it's done well,
Hmm.
and a lot of times it's not. A lot of times, I think modern people that claim to like tag team wrestling like that there could be double the number of guys doing moves is why they like tag team wrestling. You know, and I just like the kind of like very steady, stable structure of two heels beating up the one baby face, the other baby face gets the like the very basic shit. The shit that has made like
Hmm.
FTR so big for people. Just a bunch of guys watching Midnight Express matches, basically. Like
Yeah,
that. I
and
like that. That's
uh
my shit.
dudes that actually hold the tag rope. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah. People that pay attention to the fucking refs, all that stuff. Yeah. And this I thought was very nice. It felt like a PWG match a little bit. Um,
Hmm. The Destroyer
it
for
went
sure brought us there.
it went a little bit longer than I expected, or at least it felt a little bit longer than I expected. It wasn't that long a match.
Yeah, this match was
Um,
13 minutes. I'm looking at that and I was just like, for real? Shit.
it felt like 20. But I thought it was good. My only beef with the match was like the finish. Like I felt like they were doing way too much with the Frazier isn't focused story for weeks, and then
Yeah,
him
just for him to
showing
be
up
super
late to the
focused.
show, and then just for him to like to to actually cause problems in the match because he wasn't focused, and then them still win. I was kind of confused about that. Um,
Yeah.
but other than that, I thought it was a fun match. I thought it was really entertaining. I remember thinking like, so we did all of that for, is it going to happen in another match? Like it just, I don't know. I thought that was kind of
Yeah,
strange,
like,
but
oh man, like Frazier, you're like late, you're too focused on speed, blah blah blah, all this other stuff. And then it was just like, oh, we have to come up with a game plan, blah blah, blah this and that. And it was just like, I don't
it
really
really,
understand the we need
I,
to
I
come up with a
felt
game
like
plan part.
the
But
finish to this match made me think that Axiom was just like a really like anxious like ninny. Like he
yeah.
comes out feeling like C3PO or some shit. Like what are we gonna do? Like we're gonna win the match. Stop being a bitch. Like that's how it felt to me. So I don't know
Yeah.
if I don't know if that's a strand they're going to continue later, or if they're just going to drop it. But if they're going to drop it, I don't know why they did it in the first place.
Yeah, they did all that just just for Frazier to be insanely locked in when the time comes and then
Yeah,
win the match.
like
But
I told you.
yeah, but I thought the match was really good. It At the point in time, this was my favorite match on the show until we got to the main event. Um, Next match for the NXT Women's Championship, we got Roxanne Perez versus Lola Vice. Sorry guys, I'm pretty sure you guys listen to the A show anyway, but we're gonna hand it over to Dom. Let's hear your thoughts on Roxanne versus Lola.
Thought it was really good. I love Roxanne. I'm a big Roxanne mark. I think Lola's pretty good. I thought this.
Hmm.
I think what Justin was saying on the A show is really true. Is like Lola has like just been fucking murdering people the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think she needs a little bit of like humility to generate real sympathy. And I think this did that. I think I can't get over the fucking super pop rocks combo breaker thing
Hey, that show's
because
hard.
that's just it's like not a move that you
That you
need
could
to
spam.
spam. And the fact that she like fucked it up on one of them and then kept going made it seem even cooler that it was just like that's a weird move to spam in my
Yeah,
opinion, but like it
I
ended up looking so right that I was
like
like, okay.
the first one happened and you're just like, okay, pop rock's cool. The second one happens and you go, ooh, that was pretty bad. But when she gets her up for the third one, you're just like, okay, now it was cool. But like
Yeah.
I was just like, but this isn't a move that you spam like a power bomb or like, you do a Larry, you pick him back up and you hit him for another one. Or,
Like
just a lot of
I
the other
figured
shit we've seen.
I figured she was gonna win. But I figured Roxanne was gonna like outsmart her or like do some kind of like crazy submission thing because so much of her heel persona is like being very technical and being very like shades of like Danielson, Saber Jr. like breaking down a body part type shit. I thought she was
Mhm.
gonna like. I don't know. I thought Lola was gonna go for a kick and fuck her leg up, and then end up having to like pass out in a submission hold. That's what I thought the finish was gonna be.
That
So the
would have
fact that
been really cool.
Roxanne kind of like ran her shit and then just did that at the end, like it was just like, all right, fuck you, enough. I thought that worked better because it does actually humble Lola versus her just like passing out and being protected. Like she
Hmm.
actually seems like, hey, that little girl whooped your ass basically. Like you know what I mean? Like she might be young, but she's feisty and she's experienced and she took you to school. So I thought that
Yeah.
was cool.
Like
Uh,
Lola, you've been a fighter all your life and stuff like that, but Roxanne has been wrestling for a really long time. And then that's is just what comes to the forefront. Like if this was like NXT Underground, yeah, you could probably beat her ass with all like the skills that you learn, but like this is wrestling. So
exactly, yeah.
but no, I thought the match was like I thought the match was good. I didn't think this was like anything to blow me away. It was supposed to be Julia in this spot, but
All in good time.
yeah, it was really Lola's gain, even though she lost. This depending on how they move forward, this will be good to like improve her character,
For sure, yeah.
or just like get a lot of humility and all that. The main event, which I thought was really good.
I thought it was really
Uh,
fun. Yeah.
yeah, right. No, it absolutely blew my expectations. Like this match was actually like really fucking good. I was very like surprised. Um, we got Ethan Page winning the NXT North American Championship. Um, you have Javon Evan really being like the glue guy for this.
Hmm.
Like he is doing a lot of insane stuff to like get the crowd hype. You have Ethan Page and Trick who, for all intents and purposes, these are the two guys that I thought would like walk away from this. So they add that suspense to it. And then Sean Spears is just there to just get his ass whooped, and that's perfectly okay.
It really
um
was. Everyone played their part well. It was well
mhm.
structured. I don't know who the producer on this match was, but like very well put together. Very good finish. Very well done. Great stuff. Just really, really good stuff.
Yeah. I thought a lot of the Javon Evans and Trick stuff, like, yeah, we're boys, but like this is where it like counts for real.
Yeah,
And
I thought it was good. Yeah.
they're really beating the hell out of each other when that time came. And I like that, you know, it didn't really affect their friendship. Like they knew what it was. Like it didn't become like some petty bitch ass thing between them, oh, you punched me, but like, man, you know what it was for, man. Um Yeah, man, it was really good. I love the finish. I thought the finish was really great. Just Trick Williams' face, Sean Spears holding him back. Like Trick Williams is really seeing, you know, he got robbed. And then I go on Twitter and I see it's just a Shawn Michaels thing. um, it never fails. The Shawn Michael combo continues to do great for a lot of the NXT talent um going forward.
I love.
Yeah. Uh okay. So the show, after Carmen and Ariana Grace win their match, they go backstage. I think Ava's there. I don't remember that part, but they basically somebody wanted to take credit for this match. Um, what is it?
Yeah,
Ariana
Ariana
Grace
wanted to
pulled
say
the
that it was
hair.
her. Said
Yeah,
that
for pulling.
she was the one that won the match or whatever, and then they set up a match for Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, for Tuesday. Who
Yeah.
who who was really the winner of the match? Was just like, girls, y'all both won. Why we got to
Let it
pin
go.
two bad bitches together? But Carmen Petrovic wins that match, and then Fallon Henley comes out, beats up Carmen after the match, and links up with JC. And next she's Fallon Henley, absolutely sick of these rookies. And then Jasmine Nix right there is just like, yeah, fuck y'all. Really silly and dumb. Something that I really hated about this show. I thought this shit was really fucking bad. And it's Lexis King versus Tony D'Angelo. And then Eddie Thorpe is there for some reason.
Yeah. Wasn't I'm not a big D'Angelo guy, really. I don't think he sucks, but I'm not crazy about him. I want to believe in Lexus King and see where he goes. I give him props for like getting better at character work and stuff. Um, I just haven't seen whatever it is I think I need to see in him to care. It might take time. I'm not ready to write him off yet, but like I do
Oh,
not get excited when he's on the show, you know.
I'm done. I'm done waiting.
One of the things
uh,
about NXT that's hard for me is like sometimes there'll be more than one person I don't care about and they'll have a segment together and I'm like, "Oh, I'm fucked. I got nothing here." You know, like so Lexus King versus D'Angelo is definitely sort of like, "Oh, well, Dom, you want to go grab something from the kitchen now?" Like
yeah,
I think I will, you
absolutely.
know.
And Eddie Thorpe was there. They're trying to do the story with Lexus King and Eddie Thorpe. Lexus King kind of just saying like your music sucks, like EDM is crap. Uh, half true, half not. Eddie Thorpe is up there playing with some turntables, not really doing shit with the turntables. Like I thought he was gonna do something that would like distract Lexus King and then have him get a win. But after the first pinfall where they like took that break, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then just locked the fuck in and ignored him. And then I thought Eddie Thorpe would possibly like play some music during the match, but he only played it during the intermission break part. I was like, "What's the point of this?" Um, and it really turns out fucking nothing. Like they really did all that shit for nothing. Uh, so I'm gonna move on. We got Gallus defeating who the fuck are these niggas? I forgot their names.
I forgot their names too.
The niggas that be wearing Tims, DuPont and Agui. But yeah, they beat the shit out of them boys. Match was alright. Later, then we're just gonna circle back later because it all converges at some point. Wesley does his promo where he's very sad. He's thinking about quitting, all that sort of jazz. And then the Rascals come out to motivate him, tell him to keep going and doing all that sort of stuff. Um, I'm only familiar with MSK. I don't know the Rascals. Um, I'm glad that Wesley kind of has like this direction now. Like I thought he's been very lost for a really long time. I thought it was time for him to go for the NXT championship, but if he's going to go back to like doing tag team stuff just to get his confidence back up. And then, when he comes back as a singles guy, he comes back as Super Wesley. I'm cool with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that's the vision. And like I thought it was really heartwarming and stuff. You know, nobody liked how his partner had to leave and stuff. And
mhm.
I don't actually really give a shit about Trey Miguel one way or the other, but he's not bad. So I thought it was nice. It was like in terms of like the TNA line crosser stuff enabling, you know, matches and crossover, I think this was like a nice thing. That's like,
Yeah.
hey, if we can cross over, this would be a nice thing to happen. And I think that Wes kind of needed that moment. And I think that we as the audience did too. I thought it was very pleasant.
Yeah, it was very nice. I don't see this partnership like lasting long. I think they're probably just gonna get a couple wins together. Wesley gets his groove back, and then he's just like, "I'm going for the NXT championship." Like, I feel like it's kind of weird to just be like, "Oh, Femi, you got it. I'm going up." I think that'd be really funny, but I understand if he's just like, "Nah, fuck it, we aiming bigger."
Hmm.
Um, I'd be cool with that. All things considered.
Yeah.
Um, and then circle back. Gallus runs into them backstage, and then Gallus is like, "Man, what the fuck we even call y'all niggas, man?" He's like, "Us two, MSK. Us three, Rascals." And then Wesley's gonna finally get his win back over Gallus. And they're gonna do the damn thing. Um, so that cool, that cool. Um, Chase you. This is a lot. I'm gonna try to blitz through these real quick. So we got Thea Hale defeating Izzy Dame. Tatum Paxley got involved, and it seems like Tatum Paxley is gonna be bothering Izzy Dame for some time, and then Wendy Chu is also gonna get involved in some shape or fashion. Two spooky girls linking up. That's cool with me. Um, Thea Hale wins, and then she's gonna be challenging Roxanne. I don't think this is gonna go into a much bigger feud between the two, but it's
Almost
gonna be
certainly not.
yeah, it's gonna be hilarious to see. Like if it goes long, like I think it's gonna be hilarious to see like these two extremely small women like fight for like or argue for like fucking weeks.
Mm.
That's gonna be really funny. Duke Hudson will be facing Obafemi next week. I hate it had to be you, big dog. But
I'm glad though. I mean, because like they don't have a lot of other big guys, so like
yeah,
it would be nice to see Obafemi fight someone who's at least like in his weight class, I guess you could say.
yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
Especially if like Josh Briggs is busy and Dijak is now gone.
Hmm.
Um, that's the biggest we got. We got OTM defeating the OC here in a big upset. I don't like OTM. Um,
They're like fine. I
I
mean,
th
it's hard. It's hard to care about the OC too. It's just like
yeah.
Doc Gallows is like a funny guy in like shoot interviews and stuff. But hey, the 2012 G1 finals were a long time, Carl.
Yeah.
And anytime I see him now, I'm always just like, he's still here. Like, all right.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey man, that boy owe AJ his life. I what is it? OTM, I think what is it? The guys that beat Gallus, I thought they were like better workers. Like they're really hustling in there. Um but yeah, Jado Parker and Meeching get involved, little stuff like that, but I don't think it really affects the doesn't really change my opinion much on this match, but we're gonna move on. We got Sol Ruka defeating Fallon Henley here. It was a DQ because Jasmine and
JC got
JC got
involved.
involved. So
I liked the match up until the finish, though. I thought it was like pretty nice.
yeah, no, I think I like Fallon Henley a lot. I think she's great. I also love the new big ass fur coat that she added to her gear. I don't know where she found it, but it's a very good get. Um, I just don't know where they're gonna really go with Fallon Henley and them for this. Uh, so our main event, where we're gonna circle back so we can all tie this together. Brooke Jensen has a little sit down with Ava to talk about his, behavior and, his erratic behavior lately. And they're going to give him the second chance. Is this another Sean story where he's given a second chance? Um, he's going to get the help and, he has a support system and all that sort of stuff. Like a quarter later, he's beating the shit out of Javon Evans. And then Brooks comes out and he's just like, what are you doing? And he's just like, but all the cool guys, beat somebody up and then something good happens. I was just, oh, I fucked up, didn't I? And then he gets sent back to the principal's office. Um, Javon Evans
Very,
is,
very
uh,
weird. But yeah.
yeah, I'm just confused why he thought that shit would work, for him. um, and I don't know how it doesn't seem like they were gonna reprimand him too much either way. So I thought that was really weird. Um, I felt like him beating up Javon Evan probably should have happened a couple weeks ago because I would think that the story behind that would be everything was good until I lost to you on Level Up.
Yeah, that would have made more sense, to be entirely honest. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just like, oh, people beat up people on NXT all the time. What do you mean I can't do this? Um, and then everybody's just like, oh, who Trick Williams' partner is gonna be? It's the most heavy-handed hint throughout the whole episode that is absolutely gonna be Joe Henry, uh, Hendry, and it was. How do you feel about this guy? Just like outside of like the match
Broadly.
perspective.
So,
Okay.
so I like Joe Hendry. I had seen him in TNA in there. Like most people, I think that the song is the get. I think that's it's a great theme. It made a very easy meme on like TikTok and Twitter and stuff. Like
Hmm.
that is definitely sort of like his like claim to fame. But he's not like bad. He's not like he doesn't like suck at other stuff. Like he only even has a theme that good because he's like smart about what gets you noticed in wrestling. So
Hmm.
I'm a fan. I don't know. I don't necessarily think he's like an ace in the ring. To me, Joe Hendry's upside, or his like ceiling is essentially being like LA Knight. He's a guy that everyone has kind of a connection to. It's a little bit of a meme, but he's been around a little bit. He can work. He's not gonna like knock your socks off. He's like a good player. So like,
Yeah.
him getting this look and getting to come over to NXT and potentially, I don't know, maybe get signed in the future or something. Very happy for him. Seems like he's worked very hard to get to where he's at.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just unfortunate that it's like he's thrust into this position where people just kind of be like, oh, so that's it. He just does arm drags and body slams, and it's like, I mean,
Yeah,
that kind of worked for a lot of guys. I don't know if you've ever seen an old John Cena match, like,
yeah, that's where I was at with it because it's a meme and all that sort of stuff, but like I didn't get it. Like, well, like I don't get it. I don't really think like the theme and all that stuff is like funny.
I
But
think that when he started, or at least when he first debuted that meme and stuff, if I'm not mistaken, he was like a heel. So it was like kind of like a good version of like the Jericho learning tree stuff, where he was like super positive and all this stuff, but he was like obviously like conniving and shit. So
Mhm.
it's just that I think he was a bad guy long enough that it turned into him like being kind of
Like
like,
full circle.
yeah. And the thing is, like, for the most part, he makes songs that make fun of whoever he's feuding with. And for the last little while, he's had to feud with like Top Dollar. So like
Oh, yeah.
making that watchable television, he deserves something for that. But my thing is like the thing about him. Yes, the song is a meme, but it's like once he got out there and stuff, like you can tell he knows like the facials and stuff and
Yeah.
how to like interact with it. He's got that, and that's the thing that a lot of guys have naturally.
Yeah. I,
So
I would say like I'm familiar with Joe Henry from WCPW.
mhm.
Um, so I haven't seen him in quite a long, like I haven't seen him in a really long time. The last guy that I seen from there that has been getting like a lot of praise or like stuff like that is Gabriel Kidd, and I think his like stick right now in New Japan is like terrible. Um, but like I didn't like really get it with Joe. But like yeah, I would say at the time when like the episode aired, I was just like, really, is that it, y'all? Y'all gassing it up, and it's the dude putting the gasoline on the bike. Um, but yeah, no, it's just like normal. It's just another one of those things where like people like really gas it up a little too much. So I'm expected to be blown away.
Yeah.
And
My thing
there's
is
really nothing.
I at first I thought kind of a weird thing to debut him in a tag team match where like Trick is not an experienced tag team wrestler, neither is Joe. Their first thing together is trying to do a double Irish whip, and they're not in sync at all. It was like
Yeah.
very awkward at first, but it's kind of perfect because he has some of the meat and potatoes babyface qualities that like Trick doesn't quite have. Like he has them. He has a much better connection with people. He has much more
Hmm.
potential and star presence and that type of stuff. But I mean, like he's working with ego because he is again a meat and potatoes straightforward heel who kind of knows the regular shit. And then Sean
Hmm.
Spears is the kind of the same, like he's like an old school carpenter or whatever. So Joe Hendry is like the babyface version of those two guys. Uh
Yeah.
he's like he came in, he did the hot tag, he did the body slam, he did the the all that the clotheslines and shit. It was it was very straightforward and it worked. And I thought it was very nice and the crowd was into it. Uh I thought it was kind of like a goofy team up just to have Trick who has this like really cool swagger and presence and then just this goofy motherfucker that doesn't even go here.
Hmm.
uh, I think the call on the commentary was, he told Shawn Michaels anytime, any place, you tell me and I'll show up. And this being the time that Shawn's like, oh hey, I'll call that Joe Hendry guy. Like I don't know why that to me that was very funny. Of just like, oh, Trick needs a partner. We have a bunch of people that already work here. I'll call that Joe Hendry guy. But he's been
Yeah,
wanting to
fuck
come over. This will be perfect. And he was just like, okay, cool. I'll hang out with this black guy and beat up these other two guys. Sure. So
it.
I thought it was a fun little match. I mean,
Yeah, no,
like
it's completely normal.
it wasn't great or anything, but it's like considering the fact that like I understand that people have been looking down at NXT in the sense of like, oh, they're gonna bring all these TNA people, blah blah blah. It's like, but no, it's useful and necessary to have some good hands who can do regular shit. And I think it's better that it's people coming from TNA or new signings than if it's just random people from the main roster being like sent down here as punishment or whatever. Like when
Mhm.
Ziggler came and did his thing, that was cool, but you can't. There's not a lot of other people like Ziggler you can do that with. You know,
Yeah.
you can't keep pulling people from Raw or SmackDown to do that spot. So yeah, source them from AEW or source them from TNA. Like I think it's working pretty well.
Yeah. I'm absolutely cool with it. Um, I'm I'm waiting for like the real heavy hitters of seeing it. Like I want to see the Josh Alexander guy.
I
Um,
want to see Josh Alexander. I want to see Mike Bailey. That's what I want the most. Those are the
mhm.
two things I'm craving. But I'm
Yeah,
fine with Joe. I'm fine with
I
that. That's
need,
cool.
I need Speedball here immediately. I've been a fan for a very long time.
It's time. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely fucking fantastic. High flyer. Um, but yeah, that is it for NXT. That is it for our show. You can subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/the A Show RNC. You can follow the network on Twitter at or X, whatever the fuck you decide to call it. At the A Show RNC. You can follow me, Cyrus at Cyrus on TWR, Dom, all new Dom.
Yep.
Okay. Uh And then we are on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Follow us on all those platforms. Help us grow. All that matters. Um, and then we'll see you guys next week. Peace out.